Hey Siri, what's the weather like?
It's currently clear and 16 degrees. Today's high will be 41, and the low is 16.
Hey Siri, what's the weather like in Celsius?
It's currently clear and minus 9 degrees. Today's high will be 5, and the low is negative 9.
Hey Siri, what's the weather like with the wind chill?
The wind chill is currently 11 degrees Fahrenheit.
And what's the wind chill in Celsius?
The wind chill is currently minus 12 degrees Celsius.
Thank you, Siri.
You're welcome.
So you heard those temperatures. Now, it has taken me close to, I'd say, a half an hour to get warm inside the bag. It takes time to generate that heat you need to stay warm. You'll notice I've now got my thief mask on, and it's keeping my cheeks warm. I noticed in my other videos my cheeks were pretty red. So this feels a lot warmer. Now my lower back was cold, so I had to roll on my back on the mat, and then it warmed up quite quickly. Now, you have to understand, when you lay on your side, you got less surface on the mat. And this Xped mat has feathers in it, down feathers. This is rated for minus 20, and I could see it. Now, if I roll over on my back, well, now I got more surface on the mat, which in turn is going to put more heat into my body. The other thing I've noticed, could I take this bag down to single digits? And I believe I could, but I would need another layer of clothing is what I would need. Now, the way these bags are made is you get so much room around your body, and it's like dead air. And what happens is, if you can achieve that, then you get perfect warmth. But let's say I'm laying on my side, and the down is being pressed against my hip and the side of my leg. I do feel a little bit of cold there, a little chilliness. Nothing bad. Now, if I move my legs down a little bit, they heat up quite quickly. So when you go out and test your gear, and this is for people that actually watch this complete video, you're laying there and you have one job, and you're sitting there thinking, do I feel any chilliness anywhere on my body? My feet, my shoulders, my hips. Now, with being 61, my knees hurt at times because of arthritis, and so do my hands, where I can barely make a fist. Now, what helps with that is heat. So when it's cold like this, it really does a number on your body. So there are down pants out there I can buy, and I'm probably going to buy a pair, because the more I can keep myself warm, the better. There's also down booties. Now, the reason people are buying down, so you understand, is down is much lighter than synthetic or other things. And then some people would think, well, synthetic, you can get it wet, still be warm, kind of like a wool blanket, but down gets wet, and, it's hell to dry. And it is in these temperatures. I mean, if this bag was to get soaking wet and try and dry it when it's cold, oh, that would be rough trying to do that. It is far better to say to yourself, I am not going to get this wet. Where you use a trash compactor bag around your bag before putting it inside your knapsack. Very important. What else? So, is there a difference between the Western Mountaineering bag that costs $1,000 compared to your big, corporate places, Big Agnes, any of these other places, right? And all I can do is answer that with a definite yes. I never knew about Western mountaineering. In my old days, I would buy what I found, kind of online. Western mountaineering has horrible search engine results. They're going off word of mouth. And that company would probably be a whole lot busier if they worked on their search engine. But I digress. I bought two sleeping bags that were around $500, and they're down, and they just give you these ratings, and you take it for granted that, okay, that has to work. It's a big company. I got them, never used them, and then 2 weeks later came across Western Mountaineering, and I sent them back. And then I found this one guy on YouTube that he's a little old guy, gray hair, and he does a lot of reviews on Western mountaineering. And that's why I bought this bag. Now, this bag is around 4 pounds, and they do make bags that are lighter using a lighter material. I don't mess with cold. I hate cold. I had a very bad situation happen in my life when I was younger, and I'm just definitely afraid of cold. But when I got the Western Mountaineering bag in, and you can find the video I made on it, the loft. I mean, literally, how much loft is in this bag is just unbelievable. The other ones just look like flat sheets when I got them. They really did. Oh, that I would have frozen out here with those bags. I know it. Oh, definitely. So, if you're going to do winter camping, you know, there's only two companies that I know of that there's Western Mountaineering and there's another company. I forget their name. That really compete when it comes to warmth and heat. Now, a lot of people are gung ho with quilts, but the quilt has an open back, and the reason for that is they say when you lay on the down, you lose all its heat. So what's the point of having all that extra weight when it's going to be no good to you? Well, I'm going to tell you what that extra weight could be used for. This is a thicker material, which to me is going to give you more warmth than getting a lighter material if you want to save a pound. People say I don't like a sleeping bag that wraps on around me. I like a quilt, feels more like a blanket. When people start talking like that, you don't hear them talking about the warmth, staying warm. They're talking about, I guess, being more comfortable. Frig on that. I want to be warm. So let's say my thermarest pad got a hole in it, and now it's no good to me. Well, now I have no insulation protecting me from the ground. It would suck all the heat out of me, right? Now, before I put my pad down, I lay down on the ground on top of the tie back and I kind of roll around without my jacket on, just my light shirt. And I'm feeling for sharp edges, rocks, things that might wreck my pad. And then when I'm comfortable and I say, okay, I don't feel any thorns, I don't feel any rocks, better to poke me than to poke my pad. Now, the other thing I noticed, let's see if I can get this for you, is this thing here. Now, this, I don't know if it'll work because it's cold. Oh, there it goes, see? Now, this has been out here over 28 hours. It has not been in warmth. It hasn't been inside my sleeping bag. It's been laying there on the cold ground. It still works. Now, when I first came out here, I did try to hook up the bag, blow air in the bag, and then see if I could fill it up, right? Well, I couldn't get it. I connected it to my pad, and I tried blowing up the bag to squeeze the air in, and it was like I couldn't do it. It would have took me forever. Things change very quickly when things get really cold. When it's warm, everything works perfectly and you're fighting humidity, bugs and snakes and things on the ground now. But when winter comes like this, remove the bugs, remove the snakes, no ticks. You're only fighting one thing, and that's the cold. That's what you're fighting. And it's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Anybody, like if you go out with your car camping and you camp beside your car, you don't have to worry about too much because if something goes wrong, you can jump in your car, turn the heat on, and you're okay. And that's why I tell people to camp in their yard, because there'll be a lot more understanding of what's happening with their gear. Like you take, for example, yesterday I made a mistake. Like I'll show you. Oh, I had gotten my stove, right? And I didn't have this. I left this in the house. My stand. Okay, that's an MSR stand. When that's not on there, my stove goes like this. I actually had to hold the cup on there and hold the propane tank, or else it was going to fall over. That stand is amazing for keeping it stable. And boy, you get cold quick when your hands are out there. But with the stand, it's more stable, right? Well, that's really important because now I can heat up a coffee inside here and not really worry about that falling over. Now, think about that. Without that stand, if it falls over and it's super hot, then, it gets all over everything. And when it melts, it could even burn things or melt things. And that's not good. When it gets this cold, everything you do should be in slow motion. So I'm going to reach out and grab my cell phone. You want to think about it first. Is there anything around the cell phone? Is there anything that I'm going to do that could break something? You want to consider everything you do, every step you take, so you don't make a mistake. And that's very important. One mistake in this cold weather can end your life. And experience, oh man, I can't speak more volumes than experience. Practicing in your yard, practicing camping, practicing backpacking. I mean, just practice, practice, practice. You will finally get a rhythm on what has to be done, is what you will get into. You take, for example, yesterday I made myself a coffee and I have a folding spoon. That was inside my cup. And I poured the water and didn't look in the cup. And I heated the water up. Well, now I had to hang on to it because I didn't have that stabilizer underneath my propane tank. And I needed my spoon to put some coffee in. I got looking around, where's my spoon? I couldn't find my spoon. And then I just looked in the cup, and there it was in the bottom of the cup. And I was like, man, oh man. Now, I could have got my knife out and pulled it out if I would have had my knife, but I didn't bring everything out into my yard to test it cold. So I just stuck my fingers in it, burning my fingers just to pull that spoon out. I really wanted that coffee. So, just little things you're going to notice that are very, very important. But some people swear by their quilts, and Western Mountaineering sells them. Some people swear by sleeping bags. Um, Look, you have to be warm. Now, this sleeping bag that I have, I can unzip it completely and turn it into a comforter. So, literally, you wear it like a blanket. But in these cold temperatures, forget that. I mean, I want it all the way around me. That's all there is to it. Now, if it warms up, yeah, well, if it's too hot to really use it, but cool, then I can unzip it and use it like a blanket. But the Thermarest Western Mountaineering sleeping bag, um, God, those are two purchases I will never regret buying. And if you want to camp in the winter, please spend the money on the proper gear. Now, the Western Mountaineering doesn't really market that much because I didn't even know they existed. I've been doing all this for most of my life, and I didn't know they existed until a couple of years ago or so, or whenever that video was. And it's like first need. I spent probably over 2 months researching water filters and came across First Need, and there was really no videos on YouTube about it. And First Need is a purifier. It's a step up from a water filter. And even when I tell people about it, people are like, I've never heard of them. They'll go buy the Grail, they'll buy the Sawyer, they'll buy the other ones. So you got to do your due diligence and a lot of research to see what's out there. You really do. And, you go out, oh, my niece, you go out camping on a summer day. Um, There's really not much to worry about other than watch out for ticks, make sure you use permethrin on everything, and wear your Pickardin for the mosquitoes. But when you get into cold temperatures, yes, you get rid of the bugs, but you're at risk of really hurting yourself. Now, if you're camping up in places like Minnesota, um, would I run just a sleeping bag? No, I probably wouldn't. I don't know. I'm pretty crazy. I probably would. Most people use a hot tent where they have a stove and they can generate heat and stuff like that. Can you actually camp in minus 40-degree weather without a fire or without a stove? Sure, you can. There's a guy named Sugary that does it in his hammock all the time, and he does minus 40. And he just has a lot of down, and that's very important. You're literally wrapping yourself in down like a burrito is what you're doing. So I'm probably going to look into a pair of down booties and down pants is probably going to look into next. And just to give myself, I would say an extra layer is what I'd say. The other nice thing about doing that is when you get up, because it's so cold in the morning, um, it would just give you extra warmth when you're walking around. That's what it is. But this has been a real interesting experiment. I'm really glad I've done this. Um, Temperatures are crazy cold, which has been wonderful to really test some of this gear and to see what type of beating it will take, especially that inflator. You know, when I got it, I used to think the inflator was nothing but a gimmick. But in cold weather, when your fingers aren't working, it's well, no, it's a godsend. It's worth it. And like I said, as long as everything works, then it's worth having, is what it is. And that's for sure. So this will be the end of my videos for this. Um, and this was a long video. People that are actually trying to do this will watch it to the end. But really consider Western Mountaineering, Thermarest, those two companies for really enduring the cold. I implore you. I really do. Don't take a chance on your life with lies, mediocre gear. It ain't going to cut it. That's for sure. And really look at and understand down is your friend. All right. I'll catch you guys on the next one.